I think it's fair that you know where I come from. Because, I wasn't always a pro snowboarder and I didn't always coach these, world class X Games winners and Olympic medalists and US Open champions. And I didn't always do this stuff. I wasn't an overnight success. And this is a pretty embarrassing story, and you go ahead and laugh, because I certainly did afterwards. Didn't laugh much at the time, but I think it was 1996, and I was waiting for my turn to drop into the halfpipe. It was my first contest. It was in Finland. The snow was super icy. The halfpipe was all like a skating ring. And I was waiting for my turn. There was all this crowd watching at me, my friends, my family, and all these random people waiting for me to, I don't know, fail or do some amazing tricks. Not that I could. And I was waiting for my turn, and I started to feel super nervous. I'd never felt that nervous in my life, and my knees started to shake and my hands started to shake, and I feel like I needed to pee, and felt like this, my stomach was about to turn and flip, and all these butterflies were just shaking me up, and cold sweat pouring down my face. And as I was waiting for my turn, the only thing I could hear in my mind was, "Don't mess this up." And I was so tense. I was like a crowbar. I was so rigid. My body was stiff, didn't do anything that I kind of wanted to. And I was so nervous that I actually peed in my pants. So there you have it. It's pretty embarrassing, but that's what happened. And then they announced my name, and there was no turning back. I just had to go. And I started riding down the half pipe, and I couldn't do any of the tricks I'd planned. Like any of the tricks that I'd done in practice, I couldn't do them. I was just so stiff and so nervous and anxious. And at the last hit, in front of everybody, I fell super hard. And I've never felt that embarrassed and that humiliated in my life. And I was angry and disappointed in myself because, I couldn't do what I had planned to do. I was performing maybe 1% of my skill. And that's kind of the moment when I decided that I was going to do everything and anything it took to overcome my fears and get rid of these mental obstacles, because there's nothing else holding me back but these invisible bars. Like I could do all these tricks, but I just couldn't do them because I was so nervous. So I went after and I tried to look for, I tried to buy books and like inner game of tennis and all this kind of stuff and figure out what is fear and how to gain more confidence and how I could learn new tricks faster and safer and new moves and maneuvers. And none of it kind of worked. Well, some of it kind of worked and then some of it didn't. And then at one point I hired someone to actually, I wanted to talk to like a sports psychologist, but that didn't really pan out. They didn't have any like clear steps like do this, this, and this and you gain more confidence, or do this, this, and this and you learn new tricks. And they didn't really understand me because they weren't from action sport world and they don't understand fear or none of that stuff. So I didn't really find out how to do that. And then one day, I was flipping through this snowboard magazine and I saw this tiny article that said something like winner's mental game. I was like, well, that's interesting. Let's check it out. And in the article, they explain that there are actually steps that you can take to overcome fear. Like if you have a fear of injury or if you're nervous, there are mental tricks that you can do to overcome them. And that's going to be my, secret weapon to going pro, because my goal was to go pro and, do all this stuff with my friends and be able to do all the tricks and moves that I always dreamed of. And that was the thing for me. So I started studying and I started researching and I started using these, there was nothing still available, like there isn't even today. So I started figuring this stuff out and trying new things and testing and experimenting. And then, I remember this one time when kind of everything clicked. I was in a big photo shoot. It was in the US. It was Transworld Snowboarding, one of the biggest snowboard magazines photo shoot. And I was getting ready to, there was all these people. They were my idols. There were these big photographers and these people from the magazines just watching at me. And I had to gather myself. So I used this what I call MG180X. It's a system that I developed, and I used some rituals from that, some little formulas to gather like all the potential that I had inside me and really get fired up to do my best. And that's when everything changed. I was able to do things that I normally couldn't. It was like I upped my game a level, and it was weird, and it felt so good, and I get goosebumps from just thinking about that. But so that's when everything changed. And you know, thanks to these skills, I was able to go pro. You know, I remember, this is so clear to me. I was every day, so this is a little trick I'll tell you in the later videos, but every night before I went to bed, I would think about myself achieving those dreams that I always wanted to achieve. You know, you probably have some tricks or moves or maneuvers that you want to do and things that you want to achieve in your sport. So every night when I went to bed, I started to think about those. And then one night I was thinking about that, and I realized that I was in the US. I was in a, you know, at a place where I had my, you know, my own truck, my snowmobile on the truck, because we would go snowmobile in the backcountry, and those were both paid by my sponsors. I got a brand new truck, brand new snowmobile. I was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars of salary just to travel around the world having fun with my best friends. And I got all these interviews and magazine covers, and that it was just so clear that one night it just hit me that I reached my goal. And you know, I had the freedom to do all the tricks and moves and maneuvers that I always wanted. And you know, my goals came true. And I don't share this story to, you know, to brag, but I share this to show what's possible for you as well. You know, if you have dreams, I believe it's possible for you to do anything you set your mind to when you know how to set your mind. And that's what MG180X is all about. The mental game reversed, and the X is the unknown factor that we're always dealing with, the fear of unknown. So that's what this is all about, and that's why I wanted to create these videos for you, so you can get started right now and start progressing faster and safer and get over those fears and those mental obstacles that are holding you back and destroying your ability to learn new tricks and moves and maneuvers.